Man has been trading since the dawn of time, which has very often led to confrontation and conflict. Since the end of the Second World War, countries have chosen to establish global rules to settle their trade disputes by negotiation and dialogue. First to come into existence in 1948 was the GATT, the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade, which provided governments a forum for their negotiations. These negotiations were known as rounds and were aimed at reconciling many divergent commercial interests. In 1995, governments decided to establish a true organization, the World Trade Organization, which will soon count 150 member governments. They are now engaged in a new round, the Doha Development Agenda.
Bonjour madame, je peux vous poser une question? Est-ce que vous savez ce que c'est que l'OMC?
Non.
Vous savez pas ce que c'est que l'OMC?
Non.
Nej, du, det är väldigt lite.
L'OMC, c'est l'Organisation mondiale du commerce.
Et qu'est-ce qu'ils font?
Bonne question. Qu'est-ce que fait l'OMC?
Ils essayent d'organiser le commerce au niveau des différents pays, au niveau des différents continents.
Là, c'est pas très social, c'est plutôt économique, mais pour les grandes multinationales.
Aqui no Brasil, tudo que se faz hoje para a Organização Mundial, eu não vi problema nenhum.
On essaye d'éviter la mondialisation à outrance, mais on ne peut pas empêcher qu'elle se passe, il faut la faire avec bon sens.
Plus bruyants, d'autres dans la rue nous posent un certain nombre de questions. Ils ne sont pas là par hasard. Bien sûr, la vie serait plus facile pour certains d'entre nous s'ils n'étaient pas là. Et je pense que nous ne pouvons, comme je l'entends parfois, regretter ces manifestants comme des invasions de sauterelles. Pourquoi cela tombe-t-il sur nous? Qu'avons-nous fait de si mal? En fait, ces rassemblements expriment un certain nombre de vraies questions auxquelles nous allons devoir répondre.
Meu nome é Luiz Felipe de Seixas Correia, eu sou diplomata de carreira, membro do Serviço Exterior Brasileiro, atualmente exercendo a função de chefe da representação permanente do Brasil em Genebra ante os órgãos das Nações Unidas e a Organização Mundial do Comércio.
Each country, big or small, has its own economic and commercial interests to promote within the WTO. The representatives of Brazil and Norway illustrate how this process takes place.
This process was sometimes inscrutable to most of the NGOs. And these seminars that have been undertaken in the past few years have meant that WTO is prepared, is willing, and is determined to have better communications and better contact with the civil society, as represented by a growing number of NGOs that are concerned with a growing number of issues that are trade-related.
We are here because we are very concerned about the impacts of the trade negotiations on the difference we have in Brazil. For example, we have a very concentration of money and land, and that the current trade negotiations can improve these inequalities in our country.
The decisions that will be made will have important repercussions for everyone. Those decisions require courage and keen and focused vision. At the end of the day, no one will get everything they wanted. all countries in our negotiations must get something.
Ministers at the Doha Conference in November 2001 committed themselves to addressing the marginalization of developing countries in international trade and to improving their effective participation in the multilateral trading system. They undertook to facilitate market access for products from these countries. They also established by consensus a program for trade negotiations for the coming years, which covers a wide range of issues.
My name is Käre Bryn. I'm a Norwegian ambassador to the WTO in Geneva. I'm in Oslo today in order to have a meeting with the foreign minister. He's interested to be kept up to date with the negotiations which have just been started in the WTO context. I suppose that questions like fisheries negotiations, the environment, agriculture and so on are among the issues we will discuss with the ministers.
Ja, jeg heter Håkon Rasmussen. For det meste så fisker vi torsk. Men enkelte år så fisker vi like mye sei. Men torsken, det er hovedbasen vår. Ja, da får vi penger for det også, for den får vi 22 kroner kiloen. Jeg er alvorlig bekymret, for at det er jo klart at havfiskerflåten, de soper jo rent alt.
Of course, one of the environment issues is the sustainability of stocks, fish stocks. And there is an important work going on to see to it that we can define subsidies in the fisheries area so that one do not stimulate the unsustainable use of fish stocks.
My name is Svenn Olusion and I work for a fish farmer in Lofoten. We have 7 of these farms. Salmon, to raise them to 5.5 kilos salmon, and then we export them to Europe. We have to pay enormous custom.
The problems in fisheries is the same as we have in other sectors. High tariffs, sometimes we have escalation of tariffs where finished products have higher tariffs than raw material. And we have also tariff peaks in many markets, tariff of 20, 30, even 40%, which in practical terms make it prohibitive.
It's a great, big potential, I think. We have to open more markets. You know, it's a little small market we got.
Fisheries, I think, will be very important in the Norwegian economy in the years to come. Simply because this is an area where we can expand and where we have excellent conditions. What we need is market access.
Improving market access is also an important Brazilian goal.
O Brasil atribui ao desempenho exportador da sua economia uma grande prioridade. Uma parte das dificuldades que temos nesta área de desempenho exportador diz respeito a acesso a mercados.
Le Brésil veut exactement qu'on arrive à des progrès dans des 3 piliers, on appelle comme ça à l'OMC, les 3 piliers de la négociation agricole, c'est-à-dire la fin des subsides à la production interne, la fin des subsides à l'exportation et l'accès au marché des pays consommateurs.
Exemplo típico, o açúcar de cana custa exatamente 1/4 do açúcar da beterraba.
Por que o consumidor europeu tem que pagar para o produto 4 vezes tanto?
Hoje nós temos trabalhado com cultura de algodão, soja, milho, feijão e arroz. Nós temos um custo muito alto e difícil de ser competido com outros países que são subsidiados. Nós temos a colheita mecanizada, mas uma série de tratos culturais são feitos manualmente aqui. Com toda essa dificuldade que nós temos, a margem de lucro se torna muito pequena.
Nós somos muito fortes na exportação de frango, provavelmente que somos hoje o segundo país do mundo, carne bovina, soja é principalmente que interessa subprodutos de soja. Nós somos fortes nos produtos têxteis, nós somos fortes na produção de aviões para curtas distâncias, aviões bem menores, onde somos o terceiro produtor do mundo.
A indústria aeronáutica para o Brasil é uma questão fundamental em termos de desenvolvimento econômico, de integração do território brasileiro. Nós exportamos tanto para os Estados Unidos, tanto para a Europa, como globalizadamente para o mundo inteiro. Voltando à importância que a OMC teve para nós, é que nós nos vimos em meio a uma disputa com os canadenses.
Acho que a condição seria a possibilidade de haver mudanças reais, uma abertura maior no que diz respeito às regras anti-dumping que vêm sendo praticadas.
Para comprar, nós precisamos vender. E isso contamos com a ajuda do OMC. Harmonizar todo o sistema de comércio internacional.
Improving trade relations in the agricultural sector is one of the objectives of the Doha Round. However, as countries' interests are often poles apart, negotiations may prove difficult.
I'm an owner of this farm, and we have milk production as one main production of this farm. And we also grow some grain, and we have a stable of 14 horses. Our milk here is delivered to Oslo. Well, average price is about 3 crowns, 3.5 crowns. I get 3 kinds of support. A little bit I get on the price, but I get the support for keeping the animal, per animal, and then I get some support for the area, for the landscape, for what I produce for the cows to eat. I think about 50% of what I earn I get from the support, and the rest is on the price.
But the agriculture is important to us in more than the economic sense of the word, which means that non-trade concerns is important to us.
When I see the future, I perhaps see 2 main problems. The one thing is to have the manpower on doing these things, and the other will be the next generation. Will they ever find it worth to live with the cows, with the cattle, with the tourists, with the museum, with all the other things we have built up through our life?
Les hommes et les femmes qui travaillent les champs, qui travaillent, qui produisent des aliments, ont aussi, selon la théorie, surtout la théorie européenne, une façon de vivre. Il y a cette célèbre question de la multifonctionnalité de l'agriculture, c'est-à-dire les produits agricoles ne sont pas des produits quelconques, ils ne sont pas comme un radio qu'on produit, comme une plume ou quelque chose qu'on fabrique, mais c'est aussi une façon de vivre. Eh bien, du moment que cela a des conséquences pour le commerce international, bien, le Brésil ne peut pas être d'accord.
Many other countries also disagree with the theory of multifunctionality and want to sharply reduce agricultural subsidies. Many NGOs follow these conflicts with interest.
We live in an upside-down world where rich countries preach the gospel of free trade while increasing their own spending on agricultural subsidies to the tune of $1 billion a day. Where developing countries' exports to the rich face tariffs 4 times higher than those of rich countries.
Brazil and Norway have other interests as well.
We have a clear agenda. We need better access for the industrial sector. We need to strengthen the system to avoid abuse of rules. What I have in particular mind is the subsidies and the anti-dumping rules. We want to strengthen the system when it comes to services, having the maritime sector in mind, energy, telecommunications.
The WTO agreement on the protection of intellectual property, TRIPS, includes rules on pharmaceutical patents, which were criticized before Doha as restricting the access of the poorest countries to cheap medicine.
Na reunião de Doha, nós tivemos a oportunidade de consagrar uma declaração extremamente importante, que é a Declaração sobre TRIPS e Saúde. Esta negociação chancelou a importância de dar às políticas públicas de saúde uma consideração especial. Provou que uma organização, como a Organização Mundial do Comércio, é sensível às necessidades do mundo, da cidadania.
In the bitter struggles between countries, the WTO acts as a referee. A country brings a dispute to the WTO when it considers that its rights under the agreements have been violated. The dispute settlement body is open to all member countries. Rulings are made by independent experts. Since its establishment in 1995, nearly 300 trade disputes have been brought to the WTO. Both Norway and Brazil are among the countries which have had recourse to the WTO dispute settlement system.
The meeting of the dispute settlement body, what was done this morning was formally to establish the panel which the European Union had asked about, and a number of countries, including Norway, Switzerland and many others, also reserved their third-party rights.
Many least developed countries are also members of the WTO. They have their own difficulties.
Malawi is a least developed country, and as such, we need to trade with the outside world in order to develop. I think gone are the days where we are looking at development aid in terms of money is being given to developing countries, including least developed countries. We want to use trade as a tool of development.
Je sais que l'OMC est très critiqué parce que les gens ignorent les vrais accords de l'OMC. C'est vrai que les pays en voie de développement et les paiements particuliers ont des difficultés pour suivre les accords de l'OMC, mais il nous revient d'apprendre ces accords pour mieux nous insérer dans le commerce international. Nous ne pouvons pas rester en dehors de ce commerce international.
Vous savez, le Togo est membre de l'OMC, mais malheureusement, nous n'avons pas les moyens de nous établir à Genève. Et la semaine de Genève est une occasion pour obtenir les informations sur les travaux réalisés.
Romania is a small country with restricted market, and possibility of WTO and access to international market is very important for our country.
To become a member of the WTO, all countries, be they large or small, must bring their economy into conformity with WTO rules. This is done through negotiations with trading partners and parliamentary debate at home.
We will have today an informal meeting of the Working Party for the Russian accession. And this is an important meeting. Hopefully in the not too distant future, Russia will be a member of the WTO, yes.
China acceded to the WTO in 2001. This is a real challenge for everyone because with this accession, the needs of a further fifth of the world's population have to be taken into consideration in negotiations. The WTO process is democratic. The government of a country takes its people's expectations into consideration. Then, with its ambassador to the WTO, it defines the steps to be followed regarding future negotiations in Geneva. Usually, the outcome of these negotiations must be approved or rejected by the country's parliament. With the accession of new countries, the issue of how decisions should be taken within the WTO is going to be raised even more forcefully.
All the representatives who are here are the permanent representatives, so they have the authority of their ministers to act on their behalf. It's the consensus principle, so we have tried to avoid voting, and not only try to avoid, I think we never resort to voting in this organization.
I think we must start opening completely the decision-making processes, to open the participation of civil society, to have more participation and to have more possibilities to check out what's going on when they close the doors.
There will be, of course, an open dialogue with the political parties, with the Parliament and with the NGOs. But it has to be stated very clearly that it is the Parliament and the parties representing the people.
The WTO is really not an ivory tower. We are here to serve each and every member of our organization and also serving the citizens of all those member countries. We are fully transparent because we also reach out to the members of the civil society as we will continue to conduct our dialogue with various groups of stakeholders of our society. We will be as responsive to the needs of each and everyone around the world to make sure that our multilateral trading system does serve the benefits of each country as equally as possible.